update your live capture.
Okay, and you were able to put it up on training for QuickBooks users, or do I need to do that?
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead and do it.
And
Yeah.
we're live now too.
Oh,
Oh,
hi
we are?
everybody.
Okay. Oh, I see us.
Yep, we just went live, so we're good.
Okay.
It's always a surprise. Okay.
Actually,
So
hi everybody. I don't have the link in training for QuickBooks users.
it did go
Yes,
in.
I
Oh,
did.
it
Never
says
mind. Never mind. Never mind. Hi everybody. We're good.
we have so much fun just getting ready. Okay, let me make sure the chat works. All right. Hey everyone. We have Alicia here as our first special guest.
Excited about
Alicia
this. She's a superstar.
Katz. And I always mess up your name, Alicia, so you can introduce yourself.
Okay. So I'm Alicia Katz Pollock, and I'm from Royalwise Solutions, and I am the literal queen of QuickBooks because I beat out Debbie in a competition at QuickBooks Connect.
That was
All
fun.
It really was. It really was. Well, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited about the things that I have going on, and I'm delighted that you find enough value in what I'm up to bring me on as. Did you say I'm your first guest?
You're our first one.
Yes.
Yay! I get another honor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
based on how well you do, we'll see if we ever need another.
Yeah, there you go.
Couldn't you
thank
tell?
When we talk about having guests, yours was the first name we spoke of.
Oh, well,
You know, because I thought, what you do is, I think, so great with teaching our community about the product and accounting and all that. And you're so good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you are good. I went to your class at scaling, and you just seem to know it, and you seem to have connections with Intuit,
yeah.
which always helps.
And that's simply because I love doing user interface design. Like I like when I'm actually using the product to go, oh wait, this doesn't work. Who do I tell? Or oh, I see how you can improve this. Who do I tell? And so I have established a bunch of relationships with a lot of the different project managers. So when I see something, instead of calling support, sometimes I can actually just like email the guy who's in
Great.
charge
And
of that.
do they listen? Do they really take your?
Sometimes. Sometimes the changes, the things that I say actually do make a difference. Sometimes it goes into the same bucket as everybody else's, but a
Now,
lot
is
of
there
the time,
anything that you noticed that you asked that you said, "Wow, that was that's what I recommended"? What was one of those things?
the deferred revenue, I helped them with the revenue recognition tool, and some of the things that I specifically told them that I needed as we were testing it out, like I had a refund, and like it still kept running the original charge. So I said, hey, you need to do something that when we have refunds, we need to be able to shut down the revenue recognition, and they put it in.
Great. Because these are software people. I always tell myself these are software people. They're not accountants. I remember when I worked did software for police departments, and the software company I worked for, they had a developer who would go, create the software. And I said, look, you are not a cop, and so let them tell you what's important, not what you think they need. And a lot of, as a developer, just like we complain about QuickBooks, don't change how it looks. Why did you, make it work? So, but he liked doing that. That's what the developer liked doing.
Yeah, well, back before I even started doing QuickBooks, I used to do computer training and support implementations. And one of the big projects that I did was for a healthcare clinic. And when we were talking to all of the nurses and all of the doctors about what they needed from the software, I would find things like they need this information, but that information is over here. And so we would train the schedulers to put this little information in this memo field here so that it would show up for the nurses. And by the time we figured out all of those best practices, when it came time to do the trainings, I built all of that into the trainings so that the staff just thought that's how the software worked. They didn't
Cool.
realize that we were leveraging fields in a creative way. And that's one of the things that I bring to teaching QuickBooks as well. If I figured out something that works, I teach it as if this is what you're supposed to do. And
Right.
then everybody does it and it works.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is I saw on Facebook today some tax preparer in one of my tax groups. They listed a P&L from a QuickBooks user.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, and of course the guy is, what? This is the kind of crap I get, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, these are small business people I mainly deal with. And I'm sure this guy was too. They're not accountants. At least the guy, get a list of the transactions and run a spreadsheet and total them up. I mean, they're not accountants. They don't understand chart of accounts, P&L. I know most of mine, they manage their books by checkbook balance. I don't know about yours. Could it be better? Yes. Do they want to take the time to learn? No more than Hal wants to learn how to, do an invoice in QuickBooks Online. But I don't know what I need to. This works,
I mean, that's where I started with all of this. My original trainings were because I was training my clients how to use their QuickBooks. And so
Right.
originally it was all small business training. And then social media pushed me into the bookkeeping and bookkeeping space. And now I'm pushing us into the accounting firm space. And we're trying to leverage our trainings so that it can be an individual, it can be a team, and it can be an entire organization.
And you have a whole college curriculum now, I understand. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I wrote the textbooks for a company called Quisiva Consultants at quisivaconsultants.com. And they hired me actually back in 2021 when they bought the Sleater Group's QuickBooks desktop textbook. And
I still have those on my shelf.
Yeah. So everything that I'm doing actually stems from that book. So I modernized that in 2020. Like, that book didn't even mention credit cards, taking them or using them. Like, that's how old the curriculum was. So I completely redrafted that whole book enough that the publisher was like, I think we should take Doug's name off of it and put your name on it instead. And so that's when I took ownership of that project. Then I convinced the publisher that we needed to go to QBO. And so I rewrote the book back in 2021, 2022, taking that whole book and kind of translating it into QuickBooks Online, which originally I thought would just be changing some feature names. And no, it required an entire rewrite. So it is a book that I update every single year, and it's taught in colleges and high schools and vocational programs. So it is an actual, here, I'm going to lift it. It's 600 pages.
Wow.
Of QBO goodness.
Now, can they get that on Amazon?
So this book is not available on Amazon, but it is available from quisivaconsultants.com. And there's two versions of it. This is the complete book. But the first half of the book is available as a fundamentals book as well. And that's your standard setup in AP and AR and bank feeds and reports. And then the second half of the book picks up with inventory and projects and payroll and end of year-end close stuff.
Now, if someone is not an accountant, that's always the challenge, I think. You have people that think if they can log into QuickBooks, they're all of a sudden a bookkeeper.
Right.
And that's the challenge, and I think where our magic is as QuickBooks consultants is if we know accounting and we know the software, we can make a lot of money. Right. So if someone that's not an accountant, can they pick that book up and learn accounting along with it?
So the book really is oriented around the software, and there's a distinction between using QuickBooks and knowing bookkeeping. So the book does not teach you about like the accounting cycle. It doesn't teach what a bookkeeper needs to do, but it does teach what to do in the software to manage the company. And the whole thing is, let me crack it open. This is just a random page, but it's literally step by step and click by click. And here's what your here's what your screen should look like. And so it's all based on real life case studies. It's not just like, this is an invoice, which is actually my other book. But this one is like, okay, press plus new, choose invoice, put in the date, put in the checking account, put in, and goes through it field by field by field in a real life scenario. And so the book itself each chapter teaches you to do it using Craig's landscaping, which, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a sandbox file that you log into, that Intuit puts out, and then it starts fresh every time you log in. So you get this pristine environment where you can just play with it and get used to it and try things out. And then when you come back into it a few hours later, it resets itself. So the book lessons are based on that always evergreen content for landscaping and design business. And then at the end of every chapter, first there's some multiple choice questions, and to get your brain thinking about it and really get it integrated into your brain. And I know people hate test questions, but
oh, I love them. I love school, so
yeah, but you're not like most people.
Yeah, I
And
love. Give me a test all day
Yeah.
long. Give me a test.
Yeah, and actually, account tests. Let me give a shout out to accounttests.com. They're an accounting testing website. So if you're hiring somebody, you can find out what their skills are. They're actually adopting some of the content from the questions in the book to so that you can use it to know if your new hire knows QuickBooks or not.
yeah, because I read somewhere you're posting that that's going to be available on your website. That kind of something. We wanted anybody that wanted to try it out.
It's not on my website, it's on accounttests.com. And we're
Okay.
just getting beta testers, really, because I want to make sure the questions are good questions before we release it to the public. So that's just kind of in beta
Okay.
right now. But I digress. Let me go back to where I
Okay.
was, which is at the end of each chapter, then there's an apply your knowledge exercise where it goes through a case study called Imagine Photography, which is a retail camera equipment store with 2 locations in California. And they also do photo shoots and photo retouching. And so it's retail and services. And at the end of every chapter, you manually yourself do all the things that you learned in the chapter, but apply it to this company. And so what I'm doing, and this is like what I'm totally excited about, is I got convinced by Alignable and Universal Accounting Center that I needed to teach this course, that I've written the book and I used to be a college instructor, but I've never taught my own book. So they said, Alicia, it's time. And so we are doing a class in November and December, an 8-week class with 2 sessions a week on Mondays and Wednesdays, where I'm going to run the chapter myself. Everybody gets a copy of the book. We're actually going to mail you this honkin' book.
Wow.
And so you'll have it in front of you, and I'll teach the chapter. And then I'm going to give everybody a free copy of QuickBooks Online Plus, a free empty shell that's good for a year. And we're going to, as a group, go through the apply your knowledge exercises, and everybody's going to get to build the courses in a lab. And so it's a literal hands-on live training, hands-on build your own real life scenario course that by the end of the 16 sessions, it's 1 session per chapter, you will actually get experience setting up a QuickBooks file, adding in the customers, running your sales, doing your refunds, buying inventory, selling your inventory, adjusting your inventory, doing the bank feeds, reconciling, running your reports, doing projects as well. Project Center is in there. We're even going to run payroll. We're going to set up and run real payroll runs.
Wow.
And then
Oh,
finish it with a
gosh.
year-end
You can
close.
take this class
This
as
is
if
even better
anybody.
than I thought it was going to be. It's even
Yeah.
better. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the ultimate course.
It really, it is the ultimate course. It's like
Now, where can we
absolutely-
take this course if we wanted to take it, or I could tell people to go sign up for it?
Okay, I'm going to drop the link in the chat, but so that if all goes well, it's going to show up in your live stream. But if you don't have access to the link, if you go to my website at learn.royalwise.com. So
Okay.
Learn, learn.royalwise.com. That takes you to my learning management system. And then you can go up to the calendar and scroll to November and look for the class and click on it to register. or you can go into the portal and look for QBO Complete Hands-On Training, and then you can register for it.
Now, I want to know.
We'll
Go
also
ahead.
drop a link in the show notes and comments after
Please
this
do.
uploads to YouTube for everything, and on the Bookkeepers on Fire Facebook page, and wherever else we have stuff. We have stuff all over the
Yeah.
place. So wherever all our stuff is.
Yeah, we're still figuring out this part. Maybe you can teach us how to use this.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I also want to give all your listeners your own code. That there's a code, QBO Complete 50 is a discount coupon that they can use for $50 off.
Oh, great.
The
Okay.
course is $14.97, so just shy of $1,500. It's 32 contact hours and 32 CPE. If you need CPE, you
Oh,
can get
wow.
CPE as well. And so again, it's 2 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays from November 4th all the way through December 30th. And it includes a couple dedicated lab days halfway through as well, because, life gets in the way and you really do have to follow the case study step by step.
Uh-huh.
So, but, we know that real life is happening and you've got fires to put out and family stuff and all of that. So you build the file at your own pace, and then we give everybody a catch-up day. Or you
Great.
can work on it at home if you like.
Yeah,
homework.
those darn families, they always bug you.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's the perfect time of year to run that, because
Yes,
then
I didn't even
in
think of that.
January, man, it kicks up. And this is
Yeah.
the perfect time of year if you're building a business to run this run this course, and start getting your feet into building it, and then you can go out and find those clients who did nothing all year, and you can start helping them.
Use all your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we originally were going to do it as a 16-week course with 1-hour sessions, but then that puts us into January and February, which is hell month, and
Yeah.
we can't. And so I figured, okay, let's just jam it all. It's the holidays. Some people will be taking off of work. We're past our tax deadline, so it's kind of like this nice, quiet little time.
Well, I find out there's no perfect time for anything. You just pick a time and do your best.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. But you do have access to the course for a year. So
Okay.
if life does get in the way, the course forums, the Q&A forums and chats will still also be available. So if you have the good intentions and you wind up getting distracted, I'm still here for you. I'm totally going to support everybody in finishing the course.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, I want to know, though, how did you come up with the owl as your mascot?
How did we come up with the owl? That was actually a branding person back in 2015, I think. We used to have two hands holding an apple that had a Windows symbol in it, because we started with Apple and Windows support, and so that was our logo. And then we came up with Royalwise. Royalwise was the company name, and so she came back with this owl. I mean, here's the logo that Debbie's talking about.
Yeah.
And so that became the owl. And the secret is that this right here is actually a computer mouse for our computer for our computer training. And so we do QuickBooks, but we also do Microsoft Office and Apple.
Yeah, because your husband does tell what he does.
Yeah. So Jamie does the same thing that I do, but he does it all for Apple and Apple products. So we also do individual training and home service and courses for Macs and iPhones and iPads. So when you go to learn.royalwise.com, actually the first thing you do is you have to pick a choose your own adventure. Are you here for Apple stuff, or are you here for QuickBooks stuff? So we have as much Apple training as we do QuickBooks training.
And that's all Jamie, right? Your husband, Jamie. Now,
That's
does your kids get involved at all?
My son is actually our newest employee. He is now editing all of our videos, and he's starting college and taking business classes so that he can join and support the family business.
Well, shout out to Donna's son. He helps with the podcast.
Saw him right before us, helping
Yes.
me with the getting us online today.
And I'm sure my son would help, but he's old and he's having a baby in another couple of months. So,
Oh, congratulations.
yeah, well, I'm going to be a grandma if you can believe it.
Oh, come on. That's supposed to be like the biggest joy, because then
That's
you
what
get, all,
everybody
you get all
says.
the you get all the benefits of having fun with the kids without any of the responsibility.
I know. I did pick my name though. That was the biggest thing. What am I going to be called? And I figured out I'm going to be called Lolly, and Hal's going to be called Pop. So together we'll be called Lollipop.
Lollipop.
I love that.
Aw.
I thought that is so me.
I love that. My my grandmother was Bubby, which is Yiddish. And so I wanted my mom to be Bubby, but my mom didn't want to do that, and she was not about to be called Bubba.
Yeah.
And so she went with Nana, but for a while we called her Bubba Nana.
Yeah, well, my grandmother was Nana. My mom was called Mom, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be called Grammy, because I had a Grammy who I did not like. She was mean. And so I thought, just call me Debbie. You know, Peter goes, no, not that, Mom. You have to come up with a name. And so I came up with this name, and he had a baby shower last Saturday, and he goes, are you sure that's the name you want? I go, yes, I like that name.
I love Lollipop. That's incredible.
So anyway, one day maybe I'll have that baby, whatever it is he's not telling us, will be my helper.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and not even changing my diaper helper. I mean my computer helper.
Sure.
Yeah.
No,
About
I'm really
3 or 4,
delighted.
they should be good to go for you.
I'm really delighted that he wants to do this. I think what happened for him is he discovered that just by osmosis that he knew more about computer
Right.
tech than any of his friends. And so he was the one at school who would help the teacher with the computer lab. And he realized that he had a knack for it too. And I don't know if he'll ever go into the teaching and training part of it, but having him on the back end is just going to be fantastic.
Oh, I think that's exciting that you get the whole family to work together. Now, do you
Yeah.
have to give him employee reviews and raises and all that stuff?
I do. I do.
Well, that's what where are you? You're not in California. Where are you?
No, we're in Oregon.
Oh, okay. They don't have the wacky do California rules like Donna has to do.
Yeah, we have the whole thing.
Yeah.
Have to pay workers' comp. Yes,
Well, that's really great.
benefits.
Well, right now he's half time, and that just allows us to just do the minimum.
Yeah.
As far as
I have
the
to give
administration goes.
mandatory sick pay.
Oh, really?
Yes. And a retirement plan.
Oh my. I can see why. Florida, we don't have any of that stuff.
Well, we don't have the retirement plan piece of it, but I managed to convince my kid that what you're supposed to do is take 10% of your salary from the beginning and put that in your retirement account. So my kid doesn't know that that is an option. He thinks you're supposed to. And so we split his paycheck, and some goes into checking, some goes into savings, and 10% goes in, and then I throw that in his IRA account. So
Well, I tell you, I told my son that, and he bought his first house. He didn't borrow any money from me. Everything is paid for. He has no debt. And I'm thinking, good for you. I remember one time he called me up and he said, Mom, I have $15,000 in the bank and I owe $15,000. I go, well, you really have no money. What do you mean I have no money? Well, start paying it off. And then well, Dad says I have 15,000. Well, that's why I'm not married to your dad anymore.
yeah, no, it's called a liability.
Yeah. But anyway, well, that's exciting. What other great things are you doing? Now, you work with a lot of us promoting classes that they can teach their own stuff. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, in my Facebook group at Training for QuickBooks Users, I want that to be a clearinghouse for everybody's project. That when I would first want to promote and advertise my own classes, because I actually teach smaller 1-hour classes all the way through the month, and I couldn't really put it up on Facebook because those are other people's groups. So I have a group on Facebook called Training for QuickBooks Users, and that's a place where you can go to see what everybody is doing, and then go pick your right fit instructor. That I think I'm one of the best ones out there, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And so and other people teach things that I don't teach, like Mariette does these, the business planning and the accounting life cycle, which are not things that are in my curriculum. So I love strategic partnerships with other trainers so that I can send people to them and they can send people to me.
Great. I think it's best, this community of accountants, I think what I love best is how we all work together.
Mhm.
Everybody needs an accountant. So if I have a client or customer and they connect more with you or with Donna, I that fine, go over. I let me help them, because somebody you might have might come to me. I don't worry about any of that stuff.
Well, you had an episode a few weeks ago where you were talking about cutting your lowest performing clients, and like
Right,
I'm the person, I'll take those clients. That I'm the person who likes the small micro client for doing my own bookkeeping. I do bookkeeping as well.
right. Well, that's good to know. I mean, we all have our specialty that we like to do, and every client has value. That doesn't mean it's kind of like when I was looking for a boyfriend. Every guy I met had value. That didn't mean I have to date have every one of them would become my boyfriend and eventually my husband, but they all had value.
There's
So
something. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got a little piece
that's
of
right.
the pie.
That's
Now,
right.
so everybody knows the analogy that a rising tide raises
Yes.
all boats.
Yes.
At Royalwise, what we actually say, because my husband's a foodie, is we say instead of fighting over slices of the pie, we just bake a bigger pie,
Yeah.
and then there's
Yes.
enough for everybody.
There's
So
plenty
if
for everybody.
so if I can train more bookkeepers, then there will be more bookkeepers to help more businesses succeed. And so
Right.
it's that training pyramid, and we need more trainers. We need
Right.
more bookkeepers. We need all of the above. And so the more that we can help each other become better at what we do, then just the level of service goes up for everybody.
Right. And I think some bookkeepers, where they're all different levels of our businesses. I mean, if you like micro businesses like everybody starts as a micro business, even Amazon.
Mhm.
They need a bookkeeper that handles smaller accounts. As they get bigger, I always tell them when they come to me, I said, my goal is to have you grow out of me.
Mhm.
That means you're becoming more successful, because I don't want a big mid-market client. It's just me. I don't want to have, who was I telling the other day? I thought, I'd rather have 10 clients pay me $500 a month than one paying me 5,000.
Mhm.
It takes up as much time. But if that one $5,000 client leaves, I lost 100% of my money.
Right.
Well, if a $500 client leaves, and personally, I find the $500 a month clients a lot easier to deal with. It's the bigger, you know, So
I
It's
like
way
the
better.
2,500. The
yeah,
2,500 is
that's
my
about my
sweet
rate. But
spot.
I was use it as
Yeah.
I could do 500 times 10 quickly in my head.
Yeah.
Well, my clients are all like $100 to $200 clients. That my clients are the people who came to me for training and
Right,
got the training, but then went, you're better at this than I am. and
right,
and so they still do their hands-on work, and then I come in at the end of the month or even the end of the quarter
right,
and then just do their reconciliations and look to make sure everything was classified properly, and
right.
they don't need that much. So that's why I like the micro clients. I want, 100 clients at $100 each.
Yeah, and with QBO and you know the bank feeds and all, I mean, it's magical. I remember in the olden days, that when I started, well, that was like what, 50 years ago. We everything was done on paper.
Mhm.
And we had we had the vendor record, put in the vendor record, do it to the vendor account, put it in the AP journal, post it to the general ledger, and then put it onto the profit and loss. I mean, everything all paper. And now with QBO,
I mean,
you know,
I remember back when I was learning how to do bookkeeping, all the transactions were typed in by hand, and I remember spending 3 hours on a reconciliation to find 27 cents. Like,
right.
I had to double check all my work for everything, and that's not what our time is spent and doing anymore. Now
No.
we can do all kinds of fancier things, which just, again, raises the level of service.
Yeah. Great. Well,
And
that's
and
great.
and let me actually add in that when I wrote this book and when I do this course, I try and add in a lot of best practices and my tips and tricks for being efficient with it. So, I'll build in as you're doing your reconciliation, turn on the thing that puts the bank detail in the bank memo and shows it in the bank reconciliation and then sort it by description. And now you can just do all your Amazons all at once.
Right.
So I actually build that into the curriculum so that, again, you think that's how QuickBooks is supposed to be used, but it's really just all kinds of efficiency strategies that I've learned over time, and then they just become part of the course.
Now, how do you handle that? One day you log in, and I remember the day the button, the plus button used to be on the right hand side. You remember that? And then you logged in the next day, it was on the left hand side. And I can't tell you the number of calls I got. Where's the button? I go, okay, you looking at your screen? Yes. Look to the left. Oh my gosh, what an idiot I am.
Yeah.
I said, so how do you handle that since you've written a book?
Sure. So
You know.
there's actually a page in the beginning of the book called "Why Doesn't This Book Exactly Match My File?"
Okay.
And it talks about some of the things that have been released in the last year or some of the things that are in beta, but then also really just emphasizes that part of using QuickBooks is using that big brain of yours and using your critical thinking skills. And if something changes, don't panic. Just take your Zen breath and look around, and you'll find it. And then you'll go, oh, okay. And then you'll never remember that it was over in that other place. Now it is here, and you just adjust. But that's actually one of the skills that you need to use QuickBooks Online, because they are always refining it and improving it and reorganizing it sometimes. And so you have to bring that comfort with the unknown to
Right.
the table. And, I'd like to think that by working through all of this, you get that comfort level with what you're doing and that you're not stressed by trying to figure out the software. Because, being in the unknown is really uncomfortable for people. And the more you know, the more comfortable it is. And the more comfortable you are, the more fun it is.
Right.
And that's really my fundamental goal with everything I do, is that you have fun doing your books. Like, it's a puzzle.
I agree. I think they're fun. It's like a big puzzle I do every day.
Exactly. It really is like doing a puzzle, and every client is different. Every client's puzzle is different.
Right.
But when you know where the pieces are, you can bring them together into their unique picture.
I think people panic because it has to do with money. So they think if they what if I make a mistake? And I said, you're not a heart surgeon, are you? No. I said, because if you made a mistake as a heart surgeon, somebody would die. This is only money. You fix it. It's one of the, it's only money. No one died.
But that's also why every business owner should have a bookkeeper looking over their books. Because
Yes.
what I actually spend my time doing all day long, and why I know as much about QuickBooks as I do, is cleaning up other people's books. Because the marketing that Intuit did, it's so easy, anybody could do it.
I know.
They stopped that marketing over 5 years ago, but that's still what people think of. And so if anybody out here is a business owner using QuickBooks, more power to you, and find somebody to do a review at least once a year before tax time, where they can go through and recategorize your transactions. Because
Right.
the majority of the time I find additional expenses to reduce your tax liabilities. And so, we want you to pay the right taxes. We want you to not double and overstate your income.
Well, I see a lot of times people will spend 2-3 weeks getting ready for the tax guy. It's like, do you want to spend your life doing that? It's like, trying to brush your teeth the day before you go to the dentist. You're not going to find it. You have to do it every day. Floss every day. And that's what Donna, you do that, where you answer the business owners' questions in the QuickBooks Live Assisted, right?
Yeah, I answer lots of questions every day. Usually around 10 or so is who I talk to in my little shift that I have. And just simple questions for me, tough questions for them.
Yep.
But I knock it out, and they'll spend like 5 minutes without a breath telling me their problem, and I'll take like a minute and show them how to fix it.
Right.
And they struggled with it for weeks or months,
Yeah.
or maybe even longer with all that stuff. But hey,
I
guys,
know.
we need to start to wrap up here.
Okay.
Alicia, such great information. I really loved like all the stuff you said. It was awesome. A lot of like,
Thank you
like
so
I
much.
was just listening, going, "Oh my gosh!"
I know. I mean, the
Such
fact
gems.
that you do this,
And I've
the
known
fact that
Alicia
you
for
do this means
years.
I don't have to.
So let me do a quick summary recap
Okay,
with the call
great.
to action for everybody. So if you liked what you heard and you think this course is good for you, again, it's called QuickBooks Online Complete Hands-On Training. It's HOT, HOT, hands-on training, HOT.
Ah,
So it's my HOT course. And it's available at learn.royalwise.com. Although scroll down and look in the show notes because we have the link specifically for Bookkeepers on Fire in there. The course is from November 4th through December 30th. It's on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific or 12 to 2 Eastern Time. It's going to include a live training module where you get to ask questions, and then hands-on where you get to put everything that you just saw into practice so that it really, really sticks in your head. It's designed to be both synchronous, where we're all together, and asynchronous, where you can do the work at your own pace. It's good for a year so that you can take your time if you need to. It's 32 contact hours, 32 CPE credits. It comes with a copy of the textbook. We will literally mail this monster to you so that you have it and you can write in it and dog ear it and circle it. Books are easier than reading a PDF online. You also get a free QBO Plus file with payroll that's good for 1 year.
And that's $99 by itself without the payroll.
$99 a month.
A month.
And so we're giving it to you for a year. It is just for this course. You can't use it for your own books. It will not work. It will expire. So don't think, I can get a free QBO out of this. No,
I just did the math. It's what, $1,500 for the class, and you have access for a year. Mm-hmm. That's only $125 a month to have this level of education.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's a deep dive. It's meant to be like as compact as possible so that you don't have to spend all year doing it, but you can. So basically, it's a course that's designed for you to give you real tangible experience and give you all kinds of best practices and really make you comfortable and have fun with QuickBooks Online. So,
and you do that. I've taken Alicia's classes at Scaling New Heights and places like that, and she teaches me stuff. Wow.
And that's like the biggest honor that I could have because I learned stuff from
I always learn from
Alicia. I got from Debbie.
But anyway, well, thanks so much for coming as our very first Bookkeepers on Fire guest. I hope you had a good time, and I hope everybody does. I see a lot of my buddies in the chat, Kathy and Teresa and Debbie Baker and Jeff. Thanks for coming, Jeff. Did you survive the hurricane? No. But great. So anything else we need to talk about, Donna?
No, just thank you everyone for participating in the chat. Remember to like this, subscribe, and share out to your friends. Encourage other people to subscribe. This will be up in a few minutes. If there's something you missed on the replay, it'll be there. Again, just continue to support us and send it out to your friends. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. So Yay. We're at 73 as of right now. So we really want to get that first 100 down. We have a lot more to go, but that will be really cool. Yeah, and just keep sharing it out, and we'll be on next week. And,
okay, thanks for coming.
Who knows what we'll say next week?
Thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Alicia. All right.